Imagine waking up one day and finding out that the very laws binding society have roots stretching back more than 800 years, like ancient tree branches, gnarled and twisted, yet still standing firm. Sounds pretty wild, right? But what if I told you that there exists a bizarre law that's been quietly living among us for centuries, shaping our daily lives in ways we barely comprehend? Brace yourself as we dive into a hidden chapter of legal history that school textbooks conveniently gloss over. This isn't just about the law itself. It's a doorway into understanding how such peculiar regulations can survive the winds of change and still hold weight in the modern world. Our journey today takes us into the heart of an ancient law, one that dates back to the 13th century in England, specifically the statute known as the Statute of Mortmain. Let's set the scene. Picture medieval England, where the land was divided among the nobility, and the church held immense power, not only spiritually but also economically. The Statute of Mortmain was designed to prevent the wealthy from bequeathing land to religious institutions, so that they'd remain untouched by the taxing hands of the crown. In simpler terms, it was a protective measure to keep land in circulation, ensuring that it remained taxable and could support the kingdom's standing army and infrastructure. Now you might be wondering why this centuries-old law matters today. Well, consider how it reflects a societal fear of too much power concentrated in one place, the essence of checks and balances we still talk about today. This law created a framework where property ownership was regulated, keeping a check on how much land could be absorbed by churches and benefactors. It's a fascinating paradox, a law designed to limit the power of the church in the interest of the crown, yet one that still echoes in property laws around the world. But here's where it gets really mind-blowing. Despite being introduced in 1279, variants of the Mortmain law still exist in different forms across various countries. From property taxes to inheritance laws, its influence can be seen in the contemporary legal systems of numerous nations. Have you ever wondered why certain estates seem to slip through the cracks during estate settlements? Or how a historic building becomes a site of cultural heritage it takes decades to sell? A lot of that can be traced back to laws like Mortmain. It's like a ghost from the past, haunting our present. Then, let's leap into another remarkable narrative, a tale of a forgotten treaty known as the Treaty of the Pyrenees. Signed in 1659 between France and Spain, it ended decades of war over territorial disputes. But what's astonishing isn't just its historical significance. Hidden in that treaty was one of the earliest agreements to protect the rights of women, specifically in the context of marriage and property ownership. This may sound trivial when we think of history's grand narratives filled with battles and conquests, but think about the implications for women's rights. Predominantly a male-dominated sphere, the acknowledgement of women's rights even in treaties shows how progress is often stitched through the fabric of major events. To think that a mere clause in a treaty could open the door to changed attitudes about marriage and women's autonomy is nothing short of remarkable. As we reflect on these instances, it's worthwhile to consider this quote. History isn't just a recount of what happened, it's a pathway to understanding who we are today. And that brings us to another mind-bending fact related to the global intertwining of cultures, a phenomenon that has existed since ancient trade routes connected disparate societies. Let's take the Silk Road, for instance. Stretching over 4,000 miles, this network was not just a path for exotic goods like silk and spices, but also a conduit for ideas, philosophies, and even diseases. Here's the twist. The Black Death, one of the most catastrophic pandemics in human history, was facilitated by these very routes. Can you imagine? The same paths that carried precious commodities also became channels for one of the deadliest diseases the world had ever seen. We often compartmentalize history into neat categories: trade, culture, war. But the reality is that these categories are often overlapping and interconnected. The Silk Road exemplified how intertwined humanity truly is, teaching us that the consequences of our connections can be as beautiful as they are deadly. Consider the contributions of Arab scholars during the Dark Ages in Europe. While parts of the continent languished in ignorance, the Arab world was soaring with advancements in science, mathematics, and medicine. Yet have you ever heard of Al-Khwarizmi? He's known as the father of algebra, a name a lot of folks might recognize, but for many, his story remains hidden. When you watch how algebra transformed mathematics and laid the groundwork for modern computing, not just as a series of equations, but as a concept central to our civilization, it opens your eyes to how intertwined our histories are. Similarly, let's talk about the widespread influence of the printing press. Johannes Gutenberg's invention in the 15th century democratized knowledge and set off a ripple effect that changed the world. Now, here's the kicker. The first book ever printed was the Gutenberg Bible, and it wasn't just any Bible. It was a symbolizes the struggle against the constraints of information. This invention played a crucial role in movements like the Renaissance and Reformation, sparking change that led to scientific discovery and cultural evolution. Yet it was merely the tipping point. Imagine if the printing press had never been invented, would we have arrived at this information age we inhabit today? It's a thought-provoking question. Moving on, if you think history is a linear path, let's shake that idea a little. Let's hop on over to the realm of ancient Egyptian art, specifically the hieroglyphs. We've all marveled at their beauty and intricacy, but did you know that hieroglyphs were more than just a means of communication? They were thought to possess magical powers. In fact, the ancient Egyptians believed that by inscribing these symbols, one could imbue buildings, tombs, or artifacts with protective qualities. This intertwining of art and spirituality is a reminder of how deeply our ancestors valued the interplay between the mundane and the mystical. Isn't it fascinating how art functions as a historical document, conveying social values, political power, and even religious beliefs? The way it weaves through human existence is nothing short of astounding. Consider how the iconic image of the winged goddess, or the Eye of Horus, still captures our imagination today. These symbols have transcended time, educating current generations about the priorities and beliefs of an entire civilization. And now, let's give ourselves a little jolt with the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls. These ancient texts, found hidden in cave systems near the Dead Sea in the mid-20th century, have revolutionized our understanding of religious history. Dating back over 2,000 years, they contain biblical manuscripts, giving us insight into early religious practices and beliefs. But what's compelling is the sheer mystery that surrounded their discovery, half centered around who wrote them and why they were hidden away. This treasure trove of history wasn't just a find. It was a time capsule that forced scholars to rethink narratives long taken for granted. As we conclude our journey today, consider this. History is not merely a tale of heroes and villains, victors and losers. It's a complex tapestry interwoven with truths that can either enlighten or haunt us. Maybe we're left with the realization that odd laws, forgotten treaties, and ancient discoveries all serve as reminders that the world we navigate today is shaped by a legacy of curiosity, struggle, and unforeseen connections. If history teaches us anything, it's that our stories are not linear. They're filled with loops, unexpected turns, and the occasional wild detour, much like our lives. Embrace that complexity rather than shy away from it. Constant questioning, much like historians, drives insight and gets you to new heights. Remember, the past is never dead, it's not even past. So stay curious, keep questioning, and always seek out the extraordinary in the ordinary. If this exploration of the bizarre and mind-opening aspects of history captivated you, if you found yourself drawn to these tales that twist and turn through time, do us a favor. Subscribe, like, and share this journey with your friends. Together, let's peel back the layers of the past and uncover more hidden stories. After all, the past holds keys to understanding our present, and who knows what revelations await just around the bend. Let's keep diving deeper.